Can you guys see or hear us?
All right, there we go. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. All right. Are we live? All right, we're live. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Same crew as always. Jeff Iafredi, Sam Flannel, Detroit Kool-Aid, Matt Broder. It is Tuesday. So he is with us. We're going to get to him in a couple of minutes here. KG as well. His mic, like I said before, it kind of self-destructed. So he's just going to give us some sign language there to give us the check-in. But hope everyone's doing well. It feels good to be a Lions fan because, hey, Drew Lock last night, he put on for his city, Sam Flannel. He put on for his city. On for his city.
You know that I'm happy that the Seahawks won because it gives the Lions the inside path to the 2 seed. But I've always gotten a little bit annoyed that Drew Lock became a little bit of a folk hero and kind of is a real one because he did this on the sidelines when Young Jeezy came on one day and mouthed the lyrics. Now all of a sudden he's the coolest guy ever, and now all of a sudden he's going to be a folk hero too. Geno Smith might as well just stay on the bench the rest of the year because Seahawks fans and NFL fans alike will not allow Drew effing Lock to sit on the bench ever again. That's how it's going to go. I've been around this way too often. Oh, by the way, how did your boy Tommy Cutlets do this weekend?
Anyway, let's get into Drew Lock. Hey,
I'm not bitter.
Stay away from Tommy Cutlets, all right? Guy's a legend. Hey, didn't get it done, but it is what it is. But to stay on Drew Lock, though, he did. He put on for his city, and he put on for Detroit. And the Seahawks beat the Philadelphia Eagles 20-17.
Yeah.
And guys, watching that game last night, and obviously we talked about this yesterday. Who would we be rooting for? And of course, we all wanted the Seahawks to win. Even though I get this, if the Seahawks were to lose, you'd clinch a playoff spot. But Broder, I don't give a damn. I want that number 1 seed.
Yeah, you want to go get that number 1 spot.
Because you'll clinch the playoff spot. It'll come. Now, the 1 seed, that opportunity doesn't come often. Now, the 49ers doubt, they're going to lose, but at least you'll get the 2 seed at the very least here.
Yeah.
Because you got the Dallas Cowboys, the Eagles, and now the Lions are tied for 10-4.
You want to set up. Yeah, wide open. You want to set up as many playoff games as possible at Ford Field. And the Seahawks, there we go. They helped us out a little bit. So you got to go for that number 2 seed. Again, number 1 is still alive. Yep. But you just got to go for the highest seed, whatever it ends up being.
And it's funny because the Detroit Lions went through this, the San Francisco 49ers went through this, and now the Philadelphia Eagles are going through this. The stretch of games, and you just can't seem to get a win. It just is what it is. Now, the Lions haven't lost back-to-back games, so at least they have that going for them. But the 49ers, they've lost back-to-back games dealing with injuries early in the season. Yeah. Then you have the Eagles, now on a 3-game losing streak with, losses to the Seattle Seahawks, the Dallas Cowboys, and who else? They lost to one other team. Regardless, they've lost 3
49ers.
in a row. 49ers, yeah, thank you. Yeah, and both of those were complete blowouts. So, as a Lions fan, despite everything we talk about this year and all the criticism and all the praise we give the Lions, it's nice to see that everyone else is in the same boat as you at times. All right, everyone else is struggling in December, so who gives a damn? It's great news. I'm glad. Drew Lock, he probably, I don't know what his career looks like for the rest of his career, but thank you for yesterday. Thank you for keeping this thing more level.
I'll give him that. Like I said, I'm very, very happy that the Seahawks won, and Drew Lock led a game-winning touchdown drive. So, bravo. And the Eagles, as you were saying, they don't look so unbeatable now. They had a very, very tough stretch of games, and at some point, I think that's going to wear on them, and it certainly did. And it seems like they're kind of coming apart at the seams a little bit. You see Jalen Hurts after the game getting a little testy. It seems like there's been some rumblings with like A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and obviously this defense hasn't looked great all year to the point where they had to have Matt Patricia calling plays. Things are precarious.
To be fair,
yeah,
Patricia calling plays.
Yeah, it's
fair. That game was winnable in terms of the score. It's not like they gave up 30 plus like they have been, and they still couldn't find a way to win. Jalen Hurts, that throw at the end of the game, was just awful.
Yeah,
that was a bonehead decision. They had like 20 seconds left, 2 timeouts. They could have gotten field goal range, and they got a kicker whose career high is like 60.
Yeah.
But he chose to throw the ball up for grabs on like I forgot how many steps it was, but 5-step drop, whatever it was. And Julian Love, the former Giant, picked it off. But yeah, listen, in next week's game, the 49ers take on the Ravens. That game is more and more important now because you need the 49ers to lose if we're talking 1 seed.
I'll tell you what.
But they don't look like they're able to lose at this point.
But there's one other team in the NFL that has 3 losses other than the San Francisco 49ers, and that is none other than the Baltimore Ravens. So by that logic, might be looking at the 2 best teams in the NFL, and the Ravens might be a team that can pull off the upset. Because it would be an upset, because the 49ers do look like a wagon right now.
And it's interesting because you look at the NFC, and the NFC isn't what it once was, at least earlier in the season. At first, you're like, okay, well, the Lions are one of the best teams, but everyone felt like there was a little bit of a gap there between the Lions and the rest of the top of the NFC, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the 49ers. Broder, now it's just the 49ers and then everyone else. It seems like everything else is pretty much up for grabs. And I'm not saying the 49ers cannot be beaten, but the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Lions, they're in the same group here. Yeah. So despite all the people calling the Lions pretenders, they're in this thing, Broder.
Yeah,
they are.
Each one of those top teams has some flaws that other teams, most teams, almost any playoff team can probably take advantage of. It seems like, or at least for the last couple of weeks, it seemed like Philadelphia and Dallas were maybe a little closer in that tier with the 49ers, but no, after the 49ers right now, the Lions are right there with any team in the NFC. It's going to be some great football down the stretch. This is still wide open for the Lions.
Yeah, you got Stephen A. Smith calling the Lions frauds. I mean, what if they're frauds? Then what are the Cowboys that just got the brakes beat off them to the Bills, or the Eagles who have just lost 3 straight?
I think we're in a weird spot in the NFL where the word fraud maybe gets thrown around a little bit too much. Because I think you could argue that every team in the NFL is a fraud, except maybe the San Francisco 49ers, the Baltimore Ravens, and I'll give the Kansas City Chiefs just because of their cachet that they've earned over the last 5 years or so. I mean, you look at the Cowboys, they just went on the road and got their clocks cleaned by the Bills. And the Eagles, they've lost 3 in a row. And even when you look at the Lions, we talk about how the Cowboys lost 2 road games at the 49ers and at the Bills, but the Lions lost 2 road games at the Ravens and at the Bears very decisively in both of them. So you could argue that almost every team in the NFL is frauds, but I would actually probably go the other way, that there are about 6 or 7 teams in the NFL that could win the Super Bowl, and you could argue that the Cowboys and the Lions are a part of that group. It's just however you want to be glass half full guy or glass half empty guy. And today I'm going to be glass half full guy, which is very rare for myself.
Well, I love it. If you look at the Eagles secondary, now they have they have a better defensive line on paper, but their secondary, I'll take the Lions with how their secondary looks right now.
I don't know. Well,
I know about that. Without Darius Slay, that he was the linchpin in that secondary. Without Darius Slay, okay, you can have Eli Ricks.
I'll be honest, I've just been so used to over the majority of the season kind of talking about how the Lions secondary is lacking, but you forget that maybe Ife Melifonwu, maybe it's a thing. Maybe he actually steps into this starting lineup and plays well the rest of the year. Kendall Vildor is also a guy who looks to be an upgrade over what Jerry Jacobs was, even Khalil Dorsey.
It seems like besides James Bradbury, and who's the...
Oh, Kevin Byard.
Like, those 2 players make them incredible. They definitely help. But you can't tell me Cam Sutton, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Kirby Joseph. Like, the reason why I'm bringing this up, Sam, is because we feel like we spend all year looking at this Lions secondary and we're like, it's a problem. But then you have the Eagles secondary. That's an actual problem. Like a big problem for them.
Would you take Brian Branch or Reed Blankenship?
There's another one. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. It's the whole point of this whole conversation, guys, is it's not as bad as you think it is. I think that's the bigger message to take away. The Eagles are struggling. The 49ers did go through some struggles with injury. It's still, there's plenty to be optimistic about. All right, let's go to break. When we get back, we'll talk to Broder and get his thoughts on this game over the weekend, maybe some things coming up here while we're on the number 1, number 2 seed discussion. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Hamlin Pub, because, guys, Hamlin Pub is the place to go for all your Michigan sporting events. If you can't make the game, you go over to Hamlin Pub and you can watch the game. Game day special starting at $8. Every NFL game, Michigan sports. I went to the one in Richmond. It's nice. It's big. You have a lot of fun. You bring your friends. Check it out. Our friends over at Hamlin Pub, where everyone's a regular.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget, if you can hit the like button on the stream, it helps us, helps the network. It's time to get into it. Matt Broder joining us, our Detroit Lions beat reporter for Woodward Sports. The man with the plan.
Let's go.
The man with the inside info. Matt Broder, how you doing today?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
It's so much better with a victory week.
Yeah, it's
having these conversations, being a little more optimistic. I love it.
It really is. On Saturday, excuse me, got to get used to that. On Saturday, and we talked about this before, you had to watch the Pistons lose by 40. So I'm sitting there thinking, please, can the Detroit Lions get a win today? And boy, did they. And Jared Goff, a guy who's under some questions, especially the last couple of games, he answered the call. 5 touchdown passes. He played really well. You had Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs. It was perfect. All the rookies showed out. The defense played probably arguably their best game of the year.
Yeah.
Just kind of some of your takeaways from the game itself, some of the things you want to highlight.
Yeah, to me, this was the first full complimentary football game, or the first complete game that they put together. Both the offense, defense, and even the special teams played well, or didn't get in the way, I should say. Michael Badgley, the Money Badger, he was hitting some field goals in warm-ups, and fortunately didn't have to test them in the game. But no, they played great. It wasn't the perfect start that we were hoping for. You know, the Detroit Lions offense came out, and they were targeting J-Mo early, which is great, and we'll talk about that. But 3 straight punts to start off the game. Not exactly how you scripted it, but the defense was right there to support them through that. And as soon as that offense got rolling, it was almost game over. I mean, the Broncos didn't have an answer for any of the things that Ben Johnson and that offense were throwing at them.
42 points in 3 quarters, Sam. It seems like Future got in Russ's head before the game. I'm glad you played Future. Thank you for that.
And as I said,
over the people at Ford
and
Field.
as I said, I think it was off camera. It may have been on the show that you got to take every advantage that you can. So if you want to get in Russell Wilson's head by playing Future, I am all for it. And speaking of quarterbacks, Matt Broder, how big of a victory lap do you want to take on Jared Goff right now on this show? Go for it.
No, he played great. I'm not gonna take the troll route. That's what I expect of Goff. That in this might be controversial. I don't think he played significantly better than he did in Chicago or some of these games, but the mistakes that he was making, he cleaned up. He didn't turn the ball over. Some of the balls bounced the right way. He was able to find some of his receivers all over the field. And I think, I know he didn't complete every single pass to start the game, but they were targeting Jamison Williams early and often. It was 7 targets on the game, only 4 catches, 4 pretty good catches, but it was the fact that they were going to him early. They were trusting Jared Goff in that passing game. Even though it didn't click at the beginning, I think that opened up everything for the rest of the game. We saw the Jahmyr Gibbs touchdown wide open over the middle. He was able to hit him on the little diamond route coming out of the backfield. The Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown. almost the exact same route, hitting him wide open in the middle of the field. That's all set up by that pass game, attacking Jameson Williams at the beginning of the game. It was awesome. And to see Jared Goff just deliver when a lot of people counted him out and there was a lot of negativity sent his way, he just stayed calm, cool, and collected and delivered a really great performance when the Lions needed him the most.
Yeah, no question. And you know what else they needed is that offensive line back healthy because, man, they were able to run the football.
It's everything.
Yeah, it is. And I believe it was Frank that said that, that they'll go as the team will go as the offensive line goes, especially offensively. How significant is that to get those guys back? I know Frank had a meniscus tear and repaired it and was back the next week. Like he's built different.
Absolutely crazy. It's that offensive line being healthy is almost everything. I mean, it allows Jared Goff time in the pocket when he's passing. It allows them to set up the run game, to establish that run game and stick with it throughout the entire game. And then that opens up the play action pass, which is his bread and the butter. None of that works if that offensive line isn't clicking, if they're letting pressure through the middle like we've seen over the last couple weeks. So it's not one man's responsibility, but when that offensive line is healthy, they're as good. This team can, at least on the offensive end, can play with anybody in the entire league. And I'd argue, even when that offensive line is healthy, that brings a mentality to the entire team. You see the defensive line step up. I don't know how to equate that exactly, but there is an energy that comes along with it, and this team is built on their offensive line, and that's the way they played. That's the way they scored 42 points on Saturday.
No question.
Yeah, almost equally as impressive as the offense was. How about the defense? It was a bit of a get-right game for them, who have often been maligned for a lot of the season, and you saw the adjustments that were made. Ife Melifon was getting more playing time. He balled out. Kendall Vildor, Khalil Dorsey, they did some more blitzing. You saw Josh Pascal step up. You saw Alex Anzalone, Isaiah Buggs.
The big fella.
It was a hell of a defensive performance. And my question to you, Matt Broder, is how sustainable do you think that this is for the final stretch of the season and going into the playoffs?
For the final stretch of the season, I think it's sustainable, but sustaining it through the playoffs, I need this group to show me a little more. Show me over a longer sample size. I'd love that these guys, some of these guys that haven't gotten much playing time throughout their careers and definitely throughout this year, they stepped up in a big way. And you mentioned a bunch of them. Kendall Vildor at cornerback had a huge pressure on Russell Wilson. Khalil Dorsey, he stepped in there. Usually a special teams guy. I thought he played really well at cornerback. He even made a mistake on the very first play to Jerry Jeudy, but it was 2 plays later that he stepped up and read. It was a wide receiver, or I guess a screen to McLaughlin, one of their backup running backs, that he blew up right at the line of scrimmage. And then when you think about Ife Melifonu, this is part of the identity of the team. He was one that came over in the Jared Goff trade, the Matthew Stafford trade. He's just been hurt these last couple of years. He hasn't been able to stay on the field because of his injuries. But when he was out there, man, we saw a game changer, a game breaker in the way he was playing. He's 6'3", about 225 pounds, and he was all over the place, both in coverage and rushing the passer. He forced the sack and the forced fumble on Russell Wilson earlier in the game that Buggs picked up and went rumbling and tumbling down the field. He was huge. I mean, he was. I know PFF doesn't say this, but he was the best defensive player on the field that game.
I 100% agree. And it's better for the defense when the offense, you're not turning the football over.
100%.
Because I think that was the thing. Like, the offense, they're struggling. They're turning the football over. Dan even said that. But then people are coming after the defense. And you see, like you just said, you nailed it, complementary football. They played that way. Well, a person who was a part of the complementary football on offense, Jameson Williams.
Yes.
You know, I'm just glad they got him involved early. And they showed the Broncos right off the bat. We're going to J-Mo. You're going to have to key in on him and his speed. And same with Jameer, but of course the run game is going to open things up. But J-Mo's speed opens up things for everyone else as well. And the fact that he did get involved on Saturday, it was nice to see because it's something I've been asking for. He had the most catches in his Lions career, finally, and had the most targets. So for a guy like that, and there's a couple opportunities, him and Goff just didn't connect, but you saw him out there get open. What was it like for you just watching J-Mo and some of your takeaways? Because he had the contested catch, made a guy miss. It was nice. You're starting to see a confident Jameson Williams, it seems like.
Yes, and we got to see him do things sort of all over the field, do different. Like almost each one of his catches and almost each one of his targets were a little bit different. There was a wide receiver screen earlier in the game. There was just a deep pass, a pass across the middle. They were involving him all over the field. But the one that I think is most important to me, it was actually the one he caught. I forget. It was early on. He was almost wide open across the middle.
Yeah.
But it was after a play that kind of broke down. Jared Goff had to sort of sneak out of the pocket scramble a little bit. It was Jamison Williams who came across the field to find that open space. So he and Jared Goff are getting on the same page. I know it ended up wide open, but that's because Jamison Williams knew the space to get into on defense. And when things broke down, Jared Goff was looking for him. So to me, looking long term, that's everything. But in terms of this game, just targeting him, even if he didn't make those catches, that opened up so much for the rest of their players. We then saw Sam Laporta have a historic day. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a huge day. There was a lot they could do over the middle of the field that was opened up by targeting Jamison Williams. And let's not forget Josh Reynolds too. He had a pretty darn good game.
Dude, he had he got open on Surtain.
Yeah.
And he was that if you can do that against Patrick, Josh Reynolds is good.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, Surtain, he was on J-Mo a lot. Like once they started going to him, Patrick Surtain, he was the one who had to follow him. And that you take their best cornerback off of St. Brown, off of Josh Reynolds. I know he moved around a little bit, but that's huge. Huge.
You know what? It's funny that you guys mentioned all of that because a light bulb kind of went off in my head, and I just want to make a little statement really quick. We're talking about all of the offensive weapons that the Lions have, and the phrase always gets thrown around, there's only one ball or there's too many mouths to feed. Well, every single mouth got fed in that game. You talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Jamison Williams, Josh Reynolds, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. Every single one of those guys were standouts in that game, and I think they were all major contributors, and they'd all be happy with their roles. But speaking of one of their offensive contributors, Matt Broder, does Jahmyr Gibbs have best running back in the NFL potential maybe by next year or the year after?
Yes. Yeah, he can do it all. I mean, he can run in between the tackles, he can run outside the tackles, and he can catch the ball. And the players talk about how much he improves in the pass block game each and every week. That just means he's going to see the field more and more over the course of this year and the field. But the things he can do when he gets that ball, however you get into his hands, he's got game-breaking speed. He can break it for the end. Like, he just needs a sliver of space, similar to Jamison Williams, and he could be gone. But I love seeing how tough he ran. It was some of those plays. Both his touchdown pass, it was a 12-yard touchdown pass where he lowered his shoulder right at the end of the run to get into the end zone, and there was one earlier on where he lowered his shoulder before going out of bounds. I can't not think about that interaction between Deuce Staley and DeAndre Swift on Hard Knocks, where Deuce is challenging him to finish off his runs and not just kind of jog out of bounds. Jahmyr Gibbs, he wants it, and he wants to be the best, and that's something you can't teach. You pair that with the offensive line and with David Montgomery. As long as they keep this balanced and he stays healthy, of course, he could definitely be the best running back in the league.
Yeah, him and David, best duo in the NFL, point blank. Like, those two guys and what they provide. And it's interesting for Jahmyr, and Sam brought him up, and I'm glad he did, because I want to ask you for Brad Holmes. There's a reason why people say trust Brad, and even though people may be frustrated with certain things and they say, well, I do trust Brad, but this, one thing you can't deny is what he got for trading back in the 2023 NFL draft.
Yes.
I mean, you got Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta, who are already one of the best at their positions. Like Matt Broder, and I know Lions fans were kind of accustomed to it. We're like, well, yeah, Brad Holmes found two more. Like, that is unbelievable.
Yeah,
like, that does not happen in the NFL typically. And Jack Campbell's playing really well too. But for Jahmyr and Sam Laporta to already be one of the best at their positions, and they're only going to get better, and they're in their rookie year. And he traded back and got more assets to get those guys. It's unbelievable what Brad Holmes has been able to do.
And he didn't fall into these. Like, these two were two players that he targeted.
Yes.
Like, he could have had Bijan Robinson. He could have had Jalen Carter. But he could have had Bijan. He traded back, and he knew he went after Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. He could have had Michael Mayer. He could have had a plethora of tight ends. He wanted Sam Laporta. They saw something in these two guys that they knew they could build around. And this is sort of the vision coming to shape. Sam Laporta has been historic as a tight end. And you look at I was thinking about this, and I was talking to Booner about this last night. As a baseball player, as a pitcher, like, the most important thing you can do as a pitcher, not being a hard thrower, it was all about changing speeds, just trying to keep the hitter off balance, trying to keep their eye levels different and their timing off. Imagine what this sort of thunder and lightning of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs does to a defense, not just a coordinator game planning, But the actual players, when you you have to tackle a David Montgomery, you have to stop him in the run game. He can break it himself, but he's also hard to bring down. He's hard to tackle. Then you have Jahmyr Gibbs coming with a whole different type of speed and running style. They're both playing great right now, and it's just a really good balance. It's hard to predict what they're going to do when they're both out on the field, and even when one's off and one's on, the offense is completely open with what they can do as players.
Yeah, another former Brad Holmes draft pick, Josh Pascal.
Ooh.
Hey, I'm just glad he's, number one, he's healthy, but number two, it's taking some time now, but it seems like, talk about confidence. That's another guy that without Aleem McNeil, they needed him on Saturday, and he stepped up as well.
Yes.
He created some pressure, especially on that interior. They needed it.
That's the key, that interior. There was pretty consistent pressure from Aiden, from Bruce Irvin. The edges actually played a pretty good game, but it was that pressure up the middle that allowed – that really contained Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Like, the one thing you worry about with good edge pressure is letting Russell Wilson or any semi-mobile quarterback sort of sneak out and improvise. That's when Russ is his best, and actually when he looks to throw it deep. But when they did that, we saw Josh Pascal, we saw Bugs, Benito Jones. Even Broderick Martin had a couple snaps in there. When they were getting pushed from the middle, from that interior, Russ had nowhere to go, and he had to find, whether it was dumping it down to Javonte Williams or just making a throw more difficult than he would like, trying to go for Troutman and not able to find Cortland Sutton down the field. It was a really, really great effort from that defensive line. That front seven as a whole, I thought they played great.
Yeah, it'll go a long way if you're a team that can run the football effectively and you can stop the run. That's the start. Like, that'll put you in a lot of ball games and keep you in a lot of ball games. But I appreciate you, Broder. You can check Broder out. Woodward nights, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. You can check out his stuff, woodwardsports.com. Follow him on X, whatever the hell, Twitter I'd call it still. But regardless, Matt Bro.
Thank you, guys. Matt Bro 21.
There you go.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Broder. You can hang with us if you like. I know you got a busy man. He's been here for a couple hours here. But we're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll get into we'll play Dan Campbell's little snippet from his press conference talking about their goal this season and what that goal has always been and has not changed. We'll preview that when we come back. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Premier Pet.
Premier Pet, yes. When it comes to your pet, don't settle. I don't settle when it comes to my orange cat, Milo, and my golden retriever, Jake. And guess what? Yesterday was Jake's first birthday. And guess where me and the wife went to get all of his presents and his treats and his toys? From Premier Pet, of course. I got him some treats, and my wife got him a doggy cookie. It was absolutely wonderful. And Premier Pet made all of Jake's birthday dreams come true. Give your pet the best like I give my pet the best. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years with 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food, lowest prices, and curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. Visit their website at premierpetsupply.com.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Jack Labrador, because guys, Christmas is right around the corner, and I know it's last minute, but most of you guys are last minute like me. So how about you go get a gift like this? Jack Labrador, it's a great game. You can play with your buddies, you can play with your significant other, it doesn't matter. Jack Labrador, it's a fun game. It's basically like rock, paper, scissors, but on steroids. And we played it amongst coworkers, and it was very competitive. And I'll tell you what, Jack Labrador should be your number one overall stocking stuffer pick this year. One deck, 3 games, fun for the whole family for less than $20. Draft like Brad Holmes. Draft at jacklabrador.com or scan the QR code above.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Woodward Sports own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
How would you like to win a $100,000 Vegas getaway? Take your friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Centron Energy. Drink it and live it. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter to win. Register at drinkcentron.com/Vegas and buy Centron at your local Meijer store. Centron, the healthier energy drink with great taste. Look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself with Centron. drinkcentron.com/Vegas.
Honestly, man, we came into this saying we got to win this division. That's the goal, and that's where it is. If something happens between now and then, hey, that's all good. But that is our focus. We talked about that this morning as a team. That was the focus when we entered it, and that is still the focus, man. We're going to do everything we can to win this division, and there's nothing that's going to be easy about it, man. We got to go out to Minneapolis and face the Vikings, who are a very dangerous team. And find a way to win it and get this division.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Dan Campbell speaking to the media, reminding people that their goal this season was always to win their division. And I'm glad he said that. I know we kind of knew that, but despite all the BS and the storylines and the debates we have on this show, the overall takeaway that Pistons fans should have, or excuse me, Lions fans, not Pistons fans should have a takeaway 24 straight losing games, but regardless, Lions fans should have is, guys, you're going to win the NFC North. That's going to happen. It's the first time in the history that the NFC North has been alive. It's a new era. Yeah. And I think the Lions winning the NFC North, this will be an expected thing on a year-to-year basis moving forward. This is the start of something, Sam Flannel, and this should always have been the number one goal. The 1 seed is just fun to have the discussion. To be the number 2 seed, it's fun to have that discussion. But the bigger thing is you're going to win your division, you're going to host a playoff game, you're going to be favorited, and you're probably going to win that playoff game. So I can die in peace this season.
Yeah, their home playoff game is probably going to be a team that's right around 500, like 9-8 or something like that, or hell, maybe even less. We'll see how the NFC playoff picture plays out. But because besides Dallas or Philadelphia, there's not a really very many formidable wild card teams in terms of record. But I guess what, with that perspective that we needed, maybe with that win, maybe with the other teams like the Vikings and the Packers imploding a little bit after they were kind of hot on the Lions' tails for at least a minute, is just to sit back and enjoy this a little bit. I know myself got into a little bit of panic when the Lions weren't playing very well. I had some shows where I was pretty pessimistic. I know, Jeff, you kind of shared in those sentiments, and so did a lot of people who work at this network. Broder, who's sitting in the chair right now, I think he's been one of the most level-headed people here. And when we even asked him to take a victory lap on Jared Goff, he was just like, nah, I already knew that's what he was. But that's kind of
what a boss.
That's kind of what we need to do, I think, as fans. Just sit back and enjoy what actually they have. Because right now, in terms of division leaders in the NFL, it's them and the 49ers. They're the only ones with insurmountable leads right now to where they can pretty much guarantee themselves a trip into the playoffs and winning a division, which by then gives you a home playoff game. And oh, by the way, we're the Detroit Lions, a team that has not won a division since the early 90s, which is incredible to think about. And now, not only does it look like the Lions are going to win this one, this is also a team that's set up for sustained success. But while we're on it, let's just talk about this season, because then we get too much in the future. And like I said at the beginning, we just want to have that perspective, because think about this. The Cowboys and the Eagles, they both have the exact same record as the Lions right now. One of them is not going to win their division. One of them is probably going to play every single playoff game that they have on the road, which is not ideal. I know some teams have done it, but it's not the way that you want. You want to get as many home playoff games as possible, especially when you see just how deadly this Lions team can be when they are at home and they are clicking on all cylinders and they're healthy, i.e. when they played a good team like the Broncos and just completely waxed them. I mean, think about this. Even the Baltimore Ravens, they're a team that's 11-3, but the Browns are kind of hot on their tails. I think the Ravens will finish them off, but still, it's not just as cut and dry. And you look at the AFC South, Jaguars, Colts, and Texans are tied at 8-6. None of them are certain about their season. The NFC South is just a dumpster fire with no team over 500. So I guess my point in all that is the Lions are a good team. They don't really have any competition in the NFC North, and they are going to host a home playoff game. And hell, maybe even a couple, depending on how the seeding plays out and how the season ends up playing out. I think they will probably host a couple if they get the 2 seed and they win their first playoff game. So we should be very, very happy about their season, and I think this was the get-right game against the Denver Broncos that the fan base probably needed more than anybody. I know I certainly did. I know a lot of people were calling me Mr. Negativity and a hater, but when they play a game like they played against the Broncos, you can't do that. You have to celebrate with everybody, and I think we as a Lions fan base should unite a little bit more. That's why I'm glad to do a show with you guys this week, and especially I think this Tuesday is very fitting to be joined by Mr. Matt Broder, who's always kind of been that way to spread the positivity in the room.
Yeah, and even during that stretch, Broder, where they lost 2 of 3 and they're 9-4, and we knew they were going to win their division, but then there was still a part of us where it's like, oh man, it's like being a Lions fan kind of started creeping back to our minds there. We're not used to this. This is a new, I keep saying it's a new era, but it's the brand new Lions. That's what people call it. It's a new ownership. It's new from the front office. It's new from a coaching perspective. This is different. But for some reason, when there is a little bit of adversity in a season, everybody hits the panic button because we're that scared of losing the division, even though we should have probably never been.
Us as fans, we're like Pavlov's dogs. This is classical. This is classical conditioning at its finest. Over our lifetimes, we've just been conditioned to when good things happen, we expect something bad to happen after that. Like we're expecting same old habits from our Lions team, but this team is different. And some of the mistakes they were making were. Well, it gave you reason. It was things. It was turnovers. It was dumb penalties. It was things that reminded us of those old times. But you look, you're 10-4 right now, and it is a different team, a different organization, and we can be confident in that.
Yeah, winning the NFC North is everything. That is. Winning your division, I don't give a damn what the other teams look like. Now, the NFC North, at least later in the season, a little more competitive than maybe people thought of. But I don't give a damn if every other team in the NFC North had 4, 5, 6 wins at this point. I don't give a shit. All right, you win your division, that's that. You host a playoff game at Ford Field. This team clearly is way, way better at Ford Field because that environment in the postseason, and I said it earlier, I think it'll be one of the toughest places to play in the postseason.
Yeah.
Because of how many psychos are going to be at Ford Field, including hopefully myself. That is why KG, I'm serious about that. I think Ford Field, I don't give a damn if they haven't won a playoff game in a long time. I get that. But Ford Field, in that environment, I'll stand 10 toes on it. I think it'll be the toughest place to play, if not one of the.
Absolutely. And then I think back, I went to the Seahawks game, and it was just such a disappointment. That's still the loudest Ford Field crowd I think I've heard ever. And just imagine that on crack with them going to a home playoff game. Like, it's going to be nuts for any team that comes in there that is really going to give the Lions a chance to go out there and do the impossible. And that's when that playoff game that have eluded them for 31 years.
And it might be on a Saturday. Oh, like another Saturday night in Detroit with the Lions playoff game.
You win that playoff game.
Think about that.
I can imagine.
Oh, it's Saturday night.
What's gonna happen downtown? The people will be on the prowl. Marcus says this won't be easy. I see Mike G says Ford Field is going to freak a leak. Okay, all right then. Jesus, shout out to Jesus for joining the chat. We never said this team isn't different. Let's see. Gridville says 13-4 is my original prediction. Vincent says it's a great time to be a Lions fan. And Sappy Johnson says Vikings defense has allowed only 23 TDs this year, second to Ravens. And I kind of said this during the break, and I was joking about it, but I also respect Dan for it. He gives every team so much respect. Like, he's just like, this game's going to be like, the Vikings could have one win. He'd still be like, this is going to be a scrappy game. This team is not no pushover team, which I respect that about Dan Campbell. The Vikings have lost their last, they're 1-3 over the last 4, 1-2 over the last 3, whatever the hell it is. And their only win was to the Raiders in a 3-0 victory. Yes, this is 2023. They won 3-0. But the Vikings defense, though, Broder, that is where my concern is. They're coached well. Brian Flores is
a real deal.
He is.
Their defense is it's different than it's been the last couple of years. There's some different players, but you still got Danielle Hunter there running that defensive line, and just the things that Brian Flores does, he'll have that defense ready they might not be able to win. They might not be able to score points on the offensive end, but Brian Flores is going to have that defense ready to go.
And they got weapons back. Sam Flannel, they just got Justin Jefferson back. Jordan Addison's playing his best ball right now. And then you got TJ Hawkinson, which we know very, very well. Nick Mullins, you know, I don't even want to say anything because once I comment on quarterbacks, they have career days. So I'm not going to say anything. But Sam Flannel, a lot of weapons on offense, but it's got to be the defense you start with. Danielle Hunter, which is he's a dude. He's very different.
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
I think if the Vikings had Kirk Cousins as quarterback, that they'd be formidable, that they'd probably be – there might even be a little bit of a dogfight right now for the NFC North, but they don't. And the reality is the Vikings have Nick Mullins, and even though he did some good things in the game at Cincinnati, he still threw 2 terrible red zone interceptions when the Vikings really had a chance to take control of the game, and then they ended up blowing it, and then he failed on 2 consecutive tush pushes, and then they ended up blowing that game and basically blowing any chance they had at catching the Detroit Lions for the division race, because they really had a shot. Because when you play a team head-to-head twice and you're only a couple games back, you, in theory, have a shot to win both of those games, but they completely blew that. And that's why we Lions fans have so much to be thankful about, because it's going to be next week and the division is probably going to be over. And I get it. You still have to go win that Vikings game, and I don't want to put everything I don't want to get too ahead of myself on here or anything like that. But the Minnesota Vikings at some point, and I've said this before, that it's Nick Mullins. Yes, the Vikings defense is very, very good. You've had a bunch of people step up, like a Danielle Hunter who's having a career year, like their safeties led by Cameron Bynum, like your guy, Matt Broder, Ivan Pace, who's been one of the most impressive defensive rookies, particularly for draft position, because he didn't have a draft position because he was undrafted. But despite all of that, Nick Mullins is still their quarterback. And you just can't lose those games, especially when you're fighting for a 2 seed at this point. Can't lose to Nick Mullins.
At least he's not mobile. That's not. What I'll take that. Watch, Hutch will get a sack this week because he's going to be a statue in the pocket, and they're going to get to him. I do believe that. They get C.J. Gardner-Johnson back. I think that's a great addition. You could put him on T.J. Hawkinson. You could have him just kind of lurk all over on the back end there, and I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson's impact, it will be significant because they need that leadership on the field. And with how iffy and these guys are playing, secondary doesn't look as bad as it was before, but we'll see. Berner, do you know, did Dan Campbell say anything about Lee McNeil? Is he just still on IR? He's got a couple games left?
Yeah, so the 4 weeks ends. I think it ends just before the Minnesota Vikings game at the end of the season.
Oh, okay.
I believe so. He'll either play that game or he'll be live first round of the playoffs. But Lee McNeil will be active the first week he's able to be active.
See, that's good news. Just get him back before the playoffs. That's all that matters. Yeah. All right, let's go to break when we get back. I do want to bring up the O-line because it is significant, and the Lions put something out on their Twitter. It was Dan Campbell speaking about the procedure that Frank Ragnow had, and this man is not human. He is not human, and he's a guy that has had to endure a lot and overcome a lot. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to go through his impact and tell you why he's one of the more impactful and one of the more important players on this entire football team when we come back. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Planet Fitness, because Frank Ragnow, he definitely goes to Planet Fitness because he stays in shape and he doesn't get fazed by anything, even a torn meniscus. Who cares? Planet Fitness, though, home of the judgment-free zone, you won't get judged, and you can feel comfortable and work on your fitness goals. When you go to Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, full body workout in just 30 minutes. And all memberships include fitness training. You'll get all of this for just $10 a month, no commitment. Check it out. Planet Fitness, your fitness is essential.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Fairway Packing, guys, because Fairway Packing is the place to go. You see Ryan Ermanni, look at him on the commercials. He's looking good. Check out Fairway Packing. They got prime beef, dry aged beef. You can check out their shop in Grosse Pointe Woods as well. Or, of course, you can call the number 313-332-5114. Start your order today at fairwaypacking.com. We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for joining the show. We appreciate you. Talking Lions. And I do want to change the conversation to the offensive line and kind of talk about Frank Ragnow. And KG, you got the video of Dan.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Dan Campbell speaking about Frank Ragnow and what he's had to overcome just the last couple weeks.
Well, look, man, I know what that's like. I mean, there's nothing easy about that. And but I can tell you this, when it was done, I called Frank on the way out, and he probably didn't even remember it because what he was on. But I know this, he did say, I'll be back for the next game. I'll be back by practice on Wednesday, and sure enough, he was. And every day he kept telling me, I'll be ready next week. I'll be ready next week. And so that's how Frank is. Frank's going to will himself to – his mind controls his body, which we talk about all the time. And the good ones can do that. And no, he's what you already know. He's a tough dude, and he's a mind over matter. But ultimately, what it's about for him, I just go back to this. You can call it what you want. He is terrified of letting his teammates down. Like that means more to him than anything. It's just the way he is, and that's why guys respect the hell out of him.
There you go, Frank Ragnow, tough as nails, and he's one of the most important players on this football team. Because you see the difference when he's out there and when he's not out there. He's one of the best centers in the NFL. Remember, we had this argument, me and Lucas, about Frank versus Creed Humphrey. And I got a lot of appreciation for Frank. Now, he's had to endure a lot of injuries, which is unfortunate. He has the inoperable foot. He's got a meniscus injury that he returned back from in a week. I don't understand it. I never will understand it. It's the same thing with C.J. Gardner-Johnson returning from a torn pec in like 3 months when it's really like a 4 to 6 month recovery. Athletes are just, it's incredible what they're able to do and how they get their bodies right. But Frank Ragnow, you see the difference when he's out there and when he's not out there. Even dating back to Dan's first season where they lost damn near every game. Frank was out for a majority of that season. And you could just see the impact of him not being out there. So my only ask, it's not even an ask, it's really a prayer. I hope, Sam, I hope that this offensive line is fully healthy and they're out there at Ford Field for the Lions' first playoff game. That is all I ask for. If there's a Christmas gift, I don't give a damn if I get nothing and I get that. As long as I get all 5 of those guys out in their first playoff game, out there playing, mostly healthy. I know they're going to be banged up. I'll be happy.
Yes.
Because if Frank's not out there, it's frustrating.
Yes, the Lions have the best offensive line when healthy in the NFL, and I know we've pretty much been in agreement on that upon this network, at least since the beginning of the season. I know going into the year, some people thought the Eagles, there were other teams you could argue, but when you see how much of an unstoppable force that this offensive line is when they're all healthy, it's just a beautiful thing to watch. And one thing that I did a little bit of digging on, as I always do, to a certain little website called Pro Football Focus, which you all absolutely love. When I bring up. You're going to like this one, though.
PFF.
The Detroit Lions are one of 2 teams in the NFL with a top 10 ranked tackle, a top 10 ranked center, and a top 10 ranked guard. And Penei Sewell is the number 1 ranked offensive tackle in the NFL by a wide margin. His grade is 91.3. The second is Trent Williams at 85.8. And I think we can all agree that when you watch the games, when you look at the eye test, Penei Sewell definitely looks like the best offensive lineman in the NFL. Not just tackle, lineman period in the NFL. And he opens up so much for this team. Then you go to Frank Ragnow, the aforementioned Frank Ragnow, the man who missed 1 game with meniscus surgery. The man is a psychopath, but I love it. And one thing I want to get to before I get to his PFF is I love the fact that he said, and actually he didn't say it, Dan Campbell said it about him, that he doesn't want to let his teammates down. I think it's very, very important to have guys like that on your team he's the type of guy you'd want in the foxhole with you. I'm not saying he should play terribly injured or anything like that, but he played in that game against the Denver Broncos, and obviously he was very valuable because the offense looked great. But Frank Ragnow is the number 2 ranked center in the NFL, according to PFF. And Graham Glasgow, even though he struggled, especially when he was asked to play center, but when he's played right guard, he has been very effective. He's the number 8 ranked right guard in the guard in the NFL period, according to PFF. And think about this. We talk about we need this offensive line healthy. Well, there were certain games where the offensive line wasn't exactly healthy. Jonah Jackson has missed 5 games this season, including the game at Baltimore and home versus the Packers. So Jonah Jackson, in games where he's missed, the Lions are 3-2. Not terrible. They've been able to tread water, but that's below their pace for wins on the season. Frank Ragnow has missed 2 games. One of them was the loss at the Bears. So the Lions are 1-1 in games in which Frank Ragnow missed. So you obviously want him there because 1-1, that's 500. And then you go to Taylor Decker even. He missed a couple of games at the beginning of the year, including the game against Seattle, which overall the offense performed well, but still it's a loss. So the Lions are 1-1 in games in which Taylor Decker missed. But when the offensive line is fully healthy, they look almost unstoppable. And one of the reasons I know that, besides for that I watch all of the games, the Detroit Lions offense ranks 3rd in yards per game, 4th in passing yards per game, 2nd in rushing yards per game, and 5th in points per game. And a lot of that were in games in which the Lions offensive line wasn't entirely healthy. So they've been doing absolute work, and they are unstoppable. They are one of the best overall units in the NFL when healthy, and you saw it against the Denver Broncos. They pushed, and I kind of quoting Neil Rule, they pushed the defensive line that way.
Yeah, and they open up giant holes for these running backs. I don't know if that was a pause or anything. I don't know if I need a pause on that, but it is true. These guys open up doorways for Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery to walk through, and it's incredible. Penei Sewell, though, sign him to a lifetime contract right now. Give him a blank check. I don't give a damn how much it costs. He is, and I know Neil Rule is a big Penei Sewell guy. I know we all are. I mean, you like talented players, and he's one of those guys. And like you said, Sam, he's the best player at his position. He might be the best offensive lineman, like you said, in the NFL. And I would agree with you. Me and Neil Rule, we can shake hands on this. Okay, Neil, I'm with you. Penei Sewell is an incredible player. And honestly, Broder, put him in the Ring of Honor right now. I don't give a damn. Put him in the Ring of Honor right now while he's playing.
Yeah.
Sorry, and that's not disrespect to Lomas. He should join Lomas.
Yeah, Lomas should have been in way earlier, too.
That is true, too.
Yeah, might as well make Penei the first one. The first plain member of the Ring of Honor.
No question.
He's such a great player, and he embodies this team. It's a perfect fit in terms of what this organization is trying to do, what they're trying to become, and what he can do on the field. And he's just getting better, too. Like, to think... This is where it's going to fall on Brad Holmes. Like, how do you replace once the Ragnows and the Deckers and the Glasgows of the world, retire? And not even, get to once they retire, you're going to have to replace them. But when you can build around a guy like Penei Sewell, the sky's the limit for your organization.
He can play right tackle, left tackle. I mean, this offensive line, guys, is going to produce over 2,000 yards from scrimmage for those two running backs.
For sure.
That is, like...
2,000 rushing yards between the two. I think it's gonna happen.
That absolutely,
yeah.
And with receiving, I mean, Jahmyr's gonna have a couple hundred of those. It's absolutely ridiculous what this offensive line has been able to do for these guys, and for Jared Goff, of course, keeping him upright. So again, this offensive line is everything, and they go as far as this offensive line will take them offensively, no question about it. Let's go to break. When we come back, I want to take some phone calls because I wanted to do that today, and I want to make sure the phone lines are all straight for you guys. But if they are, I want to take phone calls. We're going to put the number in the chat. Please call the show. Whatever's on your mind, doesn't matter. We'll discuss it because I did promise it yesterday. We're going to talk to the people, and let's do that. But first, we got to hear about our friends from Swiss Insurance.
Do you have football on the brain? Of course you do. This year has been a pretty damn awesome football season, and it's also the perfect time right now to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Calling all landscapers. This is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Just in time for football, and you could even tie this back to the Pistons, because if you are sick of watching that, you could smoke some Honolulu Blue, take your mind off it, some glorious cannabis. You can check it out. It smells so good. It's like the whiff of the first playoff win in 31 years. If you haven't had one of these, go try them. Find them at Dispo Dispensary for 25% off, or order online at www.gloriouscanna.com. We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys for joining the show again and supporting the network. It means a ton to us. Let's answer some phone calls. I know we got some people on the line. Please call in 313-552-6322, and we'll try and get to as many of you guys as we can for the next about 20 minutes or so. But Kool-Aid,
yes, sir.
You could send them through.
Hey, look, first up, we got Jameer from Detroit.
You say
him a heck of a name.
You say Jameer.
Jameer.
Wow. Welcome to the show, Jameer. What's on your mind? Nice name, by the way.
Well, hey, man, what's going on? Hey, man, look, I appreciate all y'all, man. Now, look. Now, off the start, I did call Kool-Aid JB. You feel me? My bad. You feel me?
It's all good.
I did. I didn't even do that. But, you feel me? It's my first time calling in. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. But look, though, man. It's the Lions, man. We've been winning. I'm happy about us winning. You feel me? Yes. As you say, sign Penei Sewell to a lifetime contract. I don't give a damn what it is. Put him on there. All zeros. Yep. I need it. Because clearly, him, Ragnar, Decker, we need to sign all of them, keep everybody intact. Jameer Gibbs, I love him. First off, that man got my name. Jameer Gibbs, he's my favorite player. Now it's over with. It's over. It's spelled wrong, but I like it. I can still say it just like my name. I'm cool with that. Now, our defense, man. I don't know what the hell going on with our defense, but it looked good last week for sure.
It did.
Beautiful. But it needs to look consistent. I need us to be consistent, okay? I need us to play like this every game. If we want to win a playoff game against San Fran, Philly, whoever, even Seattle. For some reason, Seattle don't have our number every year. I don't know why, but even Seattle. we need to play consistent defense and consistent offense. And Jared Goff with them little Whopper Jr. baby hands, as Spence always say, he needs to hold the ball and throw spirals. No ducks, all spirals. I need the ball to move to J-Mo. And everybody else, everything will be smooth.
Now, Jameer, I got to ask you, because I agree with what you're saying. I'll ask you the next 3 games, especially going to Dallas. What's your confidence level? You think they could be 3-0? What's your record? Next 3 games.
All right, look, man. I got us 2-1.
2-1.
I do got us losing to Dallas. I do. All right, but me personally, every single Sunday, I say the Lions are going to win. You have to show me that you're going to lose. But it's Dallas. You know, Dallas hot. Even though it got their ass whooped yesterday, I like that. I didn't say yesterday. What was yesterday? I'm off. My day's all off.
No, you're right.
I just need us to play consistent, and I need us to beat the Vikings twice. Dallas is fine. You can if we lose to Dallas, and if we can secure our position in the NFC North, I'm fine with that. And then as long as we got either the first, second, or third seed, I'm fine with those. But I don't need us fighting for a wild card spot. I need us to have a home game for the playoffs so that we can have our full potential. Because us not being at home is over with.
Yeah, you ain't lying, Jameer. I appreciate your call. You're speaking facts, man. You're welcome back anytime, all right? Appreciate you. You're the GOAT.
All right, now.
All right, see you, Jameer. Yeah, and by the way, Jameer, I love his energy, by the way. I need that type of energy at 9 a.m. I do.
Oh, yeah.
And a hell of a name to start us off. Kool-Aid, I know we got some people.
Phone lines are packed, man.
Yeah, send them through. Keep sending them through. We'll try to get to as many as we can.
Look, we got Corey from Canton, Ohio.
Ooh.
Corey from Canton, Ohio. Corey, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, guys. Been waiting to get this question into you just because, Sam, my fellow Michigan man, I'm seeing some – I just want to ask you guys a question about Hendon Hooker because I feel like I'm seeing the same thing from the Wolverines in 2021 where they had Cade McNamara and they also they threw in J.J. McCarthy. Could we potentially be seeing the same thing for the Lions next year with Jared Goff being the main go-to guy and then just throwing Hendon Hooker in every so often?
I'll let the Michigan man answer this.
No, I don't know if Hendon Hooker would be just like a gadget quarterback or anything like that. I think if they're going to commit to Jared Goff next year, which he still is under contract, that they're going to go with him. And I think a lot of that has to do with how Jared Goff plays down the stretch. Do they win a playoff game? Is he the guy that the Lions want moving forward? Because you never know. There might be a time still, and I know this is a bad time to talk about it because Jared Goff played so great this past Saturday that Hendon Hooker could still be the quarterback of the future. I just think, I don't know if playing 2 quarterbacks is necessarily a good formula, although I guess, I don't know, the New Orleans Saints kind of do sort of a thing with Taysom Hill. I that's just not something that I personally foresee next year, unless, of course, Jared Goff implodes and Hendon Hooker does end up being the starter, which I hope doesn't happen, by the way.
Okay.
All right,
good. Thanks for
answering, man. No, and again, I agree with Sam there. I get what you're trying to say. I think we could agree that Cade McNamara, the 5 touchdown passes that Jared Goff just had on Saturday, there's levels, but I get what you're trying to say with Hendon and J.J. McCarthy. We'll see. And people felt like at Michigan that J.J., got Michigan a higher ceiling immediately with his talent, and we'll see what Hendon Hooker has. But until we find that out, we really don't know what Hendon Hooker is, because again, at the same time, as much as I like Hendon Hooker, he very well could just be a bust, to be quite honest with you. So we have no official confirmation on that. We'll find out next preseason. But I appreciate you calling. You're welcome back anytime. All right.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, appreciate it. You can send another caller through. Again, great caller so far. Appreciate you guys for calling.
Yeah, definitely.
What do we got?
We got Eduardo in Orlando.
Eduardo from Orlando once again. Welcome to the show, Eduardo. I remember you. How you doing this morning, and what's on your mind?
Good morning, guys. How are you guys doing?
Great.
I just wanted to say, Jeff, I know you want to go to that playoff game, man, but the Lions do not win when you go to their game. You have to take one for the team, bro. I'm sorry,
Yeah, you're probably right, Eduardo. You're probably right.
And then I just want to say, you know, Saturday, like, everything I wanted them to do, they did. Teams were begging us to throw it deep. What did we do from the beginning? We started throwing it deep. And I wholeheartedly believe that if we win on Sunday, we get this division, of course, this team will be motivated to prove that they can compete with, you know, the big dogs in the NFC. And especially Dallas doesn't have the big bodies in the front seven to compete against teams with a running game. And even though they haven't lost a home game in 2 years, we are the only team that they have faced at home this year that has a running game to attack them as like that is their strength. So I wholeheartedly believe that if we have Frank out there next Saturday, we're gonna get up in there and we're gonna run away with that win. And that might just be the Kool-Aid talking, but if Buffalo, I get it was in Buffalo, and Buffalo is like a superpower out when they're out there. But if teams can run down the throat of Dallas, and we're the number 2 rushing team in the NFL, there is no reason why we cannot do the same against them. That is all I have to say.
Yeah, you know what, Eduardo? I agree with you. I do. And I know it's in Dallas and they're a different team at home. I get all that. But to your point, the script is out there. Like how the Bills beat the Cowboys. And it's not just like you said, you already alluded to it, the front seven and what they do against the run. But also Micah Parsons. How do you neutralize a great pass rush? You run the football. And they have 5 guys, the best offensive line, I believe, in football, if not 2. They can compete with the Cowboys. I mean, the only thing you probably would question, Eduardo, is are they going to win the turnover battle and how do they look defensively? Those are the 2 things I probably would be more concerned about. But you're absolutely correct. At least Lions offense on the Cowboys defense, I like the matchup, Sam. I do.
Well, especially if you can run the ball, because one of the ways that Buffalo neutralized Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence in that amazing Cowboys pass rush is they just didn't throw. They threw the ball 15 times the whole game, and James Cook had his legacy game, basically. And I don't know if the Lions would ever construct a game plan in which they threw the ball so few times as the Bills did against the Cowboys, but if that's what it takes, I mean, the Lions have an offensive line and the running game to do to the Cowboys what the Bills did. I'm not saying that they'll run for 268 yards or anything like that, but as you said, Jeff, the Cowboys, they had been playing some amazing football. They had been beating down the bad teams, and they even beat down the Eagles at home, but the script is finally out. They went to the Bills, they got gashed, and the Lions are capable of gashing anybody, anytime, anywhere. They've basically done that almost every game they've played this year. So,
no doubt about it. Great call, Eduardo. We appreciate you.
All right, next up, we got Cameron from Tallahassee, Florida.
Ooh. Cameron from Tallahassee, Florida. Cameron, welcome to the program. We appreciate you. And what's on your mind this morning?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I just want to say Florida State should have made the playoffs living in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Originally a Michigan man, though, because my parents, though. So, shout out Wolverines.
There you go.
Number 1 seed. Telling all my FSU fans, listen, I'd rather be playing y'all. So it's all good. But just a question for y'all is, what do you think it's got to take for the Lions to get to the number 1 seed? I mean, it's feeling pretty wide open right now. I know the Niners got a difficult game against Baltimore. So what are you guys thinking that it's going to take for us to get that number 1 seed, or at least because that's feeling wide open too?
Yeah, I think the 2 seed is probably more likely, to be honest with you, because of how the Eagles look currently and if the Lions beat the Dallas Cowboys. But I'll give you a scenario. Like if the 49ers this week, because this week they have the Ravens, like you kind of already talked about. If they lose to the Ravens, okay, and they're probably going to beat the Commanders because that's who they play next. You never know, but they're going to beat the Commanders. They play the Rams at home the end of the year. To me, that could be a sneaky game as well. The Lions would essentially have to win out, and then you need the 49ers to drop a game or 2 here. And then I think the rest of the field, if you beat the Cowboys, the Eagles, we'll see what happens with the Eagles. They look like they got a lot more to overcome. I do think the 1 seed's possible, but if I'm a betting man, Cameron, I'm probably going to lean that 2 seed is more likely. And that's everything, because besides the 49ers, you'd have home field advantage, which is everything. So I would say most likely if they can win out here, Sam, I'll go 2 seed. I think that's probably more likely on the table.
I feel like Booner said something in the chat, and I should probably know this by now, but I don't. If the Lions win out and the Eagles win out, who would get the 2? I think that's the big question, because the Eagles, one of the reasons why they've sputtered so much is they've had a very, very tough stretch. Now they're home versus New York, home the Giants, home versus the Cardinals, and then at the Giants. They probably should win all three. And you already mentioned the 49ers schedule. I don't see both the Ravens and the Rams game is at home, though. But those are not gimmies. The Lions, though, at absolute minimum, they have to win out to give themselves any chance of anything but the 3 seed, in my humble opinion. But as we've said yesterday and we're saying going into the week, Dallas is not impossible to beat. I thought that they were going into this football weekend, and that's why maybe we shouldn't make such bold statements like that before you let things play out. But now I think the Lions could beat the Cowboys. I'm not saying they'd be favored, but they could win out.
So to answer Cameron's question, if they win out, the Eagles win out, and you beat the Cowboys and the 49ers, let's just say they win out too, regardless, you'll have the 2 seed because you'll have the tiebreaker over the Eagles. So the second seed is probably more likely there.
Booner just confirmed it, and a couple of people are confirming that
So the one seed would be tough. That's a tough. You need a lot of things to go your way. They need to lose like literally the next 3 or 2 of the 3. But I'll go, if we're banking on it, Lions can get that 2 seed, man, no doubt about it. They control their own destiny at this point. Thanks for the call, Cameron. You're welcome back anytime. Kool-Aid, send another one through. Who do we got, Wade? Another great call.
Yes, sir. Hey, look, we got Mr. Devin from Inkster, man.
Oh, Devin.
He said he's coming for the call of the segment, man.
Devin, man, listen. We know about the Home Depot stuff. I know about Devin, what's on your mind, my man?
Yeah, what's good, fellas?
What did you do?
Hey, look, guys, I'm gonna get straight to it. Flannel.
Yes.
I win, you lose. Done, fat, you degenerate. Fucking J-Mo produced, and he got reception. Look at that. It fucking happened. Wow.
Damn,
that's fucking amazing.
You're pulling out my playbook. I like it.
So I'm gonna pull out another.
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna pull out another one. So I was told if you get receptions and you catch the damn ball, it produces yards.
Oh man!
I was told.
Should we call you Devin Rule now?
Love Flannel. Hey, Flannel.
Yo.
Right now, I'm Omni-Man and you're Mark. You ever see that meme when Omni-Man from Invisibles is standing over Mark? Yeah, I'm clipping that and I'm making that. As a graphic designer, I'm bringing that shit up to the Woodward station and I'm getting you that damn shirt.
Come on. Yep.
But overall, Flannel, last week you did have clear points. I'm not going to go out here and say you did not speak the truth. I am going to be on your side with that. But that man fucking produced. And you have every right to shut the fuck up. And I do. I have to say that. I have every right to be glad to say that. Well, overall, what a great fucking win. And what a great year to be a fucking Lions fan.
Yeah, you ain't.
That's all, guys.
No,
y'all have a great fucking day.
Hey, Devin, you have a great effing day, my man. I love when you call, man. You bring the juice. I appreciate you. And Sam Flannel, no comment from you, right? No comment?
I let people have their victory laps.
Yeah.
I let people have their victory
Devin,
laps.
you put him in a coffin.
I have my victory until next week.
There you go.
I have my victory until next week. If he fucks up next week, I'll give it to you, Sam. And then I'll curl back into my fucking ball and be Showtime safe.
All right, I'm counting on you, Devin. If Jameson has another big game, I'm counting on you, all right, to come back call up.
Always, bro.
All right.
Always.
All right, appreciate you, Devin. Great call from Inkster there. You can bring in another one. He's always a great call.
Yeah, definitely. We got Anthony from Detroit.
Anthony from Detroit, what's on your mind? Welcome to the show.
Yo, what's up, man? Thanks for having me, man. I love y'all, man.
Yeah, appreciate that,
every
bro.
morning in the heavyweights. But I have one question. Do you guys think is this like the Brad Holmes' biggest off season for him? Containing golf situation, Panay, St. Brown. How do you guys feel about that?
So we're talking about just going into next year, just who they're gonna lock up, who they could acquire, who they draft, and all that. I mean, this is gonna be the year where they're gonna have the most cap space, and you know that they're gonna try to make a couple of free agent acquisitions, or at least I would assume, and maybe even consider paying some of the guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's actually gonna be in the last year of his rookie deal. I can't believe how fast time
got to give him a bag
flies.
too.
Yeah, there's a lot of decisions are going to have to be made, and I think I think next year, if the team isn't in 100% contention for a Super Bowl, I mean, that's the goal. And if they don't get to that, then the offseason will be lacking. But Brad Holmes has done nothing so far but keep restoring my faith in him, except maybe when it comes to free agency. But even that, they're a 10-4 team, and they started off his tenure as their first year was 3-13-1. He inherited a mess. So I trust him, and I think that this is the offseason where they go from being a team that their goal is to win the division and make the playoffs and win a playoff game to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that's why I absolutely agree it's the biggest offseason of his career because of that reason. They're kind of in this mode right now, Anthony, where they're a good team, but this is the offseason that could take them to a great team. And that's the draft, that's free agency. Exactly. Like you said, with the golf extension. So yeah, I think a lot of questions will be answered, and this is huge, I think, with all the money they'll have available. No question.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate y'all having me.
Oh, yeah, no problem, man. Appreciate you. You're welcome back anytime. There you go, Anthony from Detroit. Another great call. Kool-Aid, we'll do one more, then we'll go to break here.
All right, got you. Look, we got Cordell from San Antonio.
Cordell from San Antonio. You sons of bitches got Victor Wembanyama. All right. But, hey, welcome to the show. What's on your mind today?
They got Victor Wembanyama, but it's not helping them very much, is it?
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I want to say, last year in December, we're already talking about, are we going to take Jalen Carter? Who are we going to take? Baby Bijan. Now we're talking about playoffs and whether or not a guy can win us a Super Bowl, or it's nice. Or we're talking about last year's draft class. Imagine, like Devin. Was it Devin? Devin was just talking about how it's a great year to be a Lions fan.
Right.
And it really is, because how often do you end up with a guy like Sam Laporta and Demir Gibbs being on the Lions? We're used to having to look at other rookies having historic seasons and saying, dang, why couldn't we get guys like that? And now we have it. And it's just so amazing. And to think that, like Matt said, we're hot this year. Why not think about going out there and winning it all? And if we hit our stride right now, is that not the perfect time to maybe go into San Fran and shock the world and smack them in the mouth a little bit? No expectation is invalid right now, and I've never felt that way as a Lions fan, so I can imagine how all the older fans feel. I don't know what to do with my life. Like, am I in a coma and dreaming this stuff, guys?
No, you're not alone. All right, I'm with you. It's very new territory, and you're so spot on, by the way, with the draft stuff, because it's something that I've had to endure talking sports here. Is they've missed on another one, but now with Brad Holmes, it feels like if he doesn't hit, we're surprised.
Yeah, I feel like back in the day.
I mean, look at it.
Yeah. I mean,
sorry about that. I just want to say real quick. We're looking at it like, oh man, Jalen Carter, if we don't draft him, it's a mistake. And now we're in December and we're like, Jalen Carter who?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest examples of that too is, and I was guilty of this, and our old comrade Lucas Klotz has never let me live it down, as I was kind of in the whole Michael Mayer over Sam Laporta camp, and that's kind of the type of pick that would have haunted us back in the day, but now we've got the right guy, and Michael Mayer and Sam Laporta, and Michael Mayer is kind of struggling to get his rookie legs under him in Las Vegas. So I 100% get what you're saying.
I will say real quick, Sam.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I was full blown in the Michael Mayer camp. I was like, yeah, this guy's a stud. Good thing I'm not in the front office.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. No, you ain't lying, man. Good call, by the way. Appreciate you. Welcome back anytime, all right?
Appreciate you. I love you guys. Bye.
Yes, sir. That is awesome. Great callers today, Kool-Aid. I don't know if it's just you being in the booth, people just coming in calling the show, man. Great callers. A lot of fun. Sorry to anybody we can't get to. We got to get to our top 10 teams for Tuesday here, and then we'll get to mailbag, of course. Or excuse me, what's trending?
Who's your favorite caller?
My favorite caller? That's hard. There's a lot of great callers. It's always funny when guys bring the energy. I like that. It's just funny to me. I mean, I find it hilarious. I think Devin, when he calls Terrell, they're all great calls. Terrell from FL, my arch nemesis. You know who you are, Terrell, if you're watching. But they're all great, to be honest with you. I just like talking to people. I do. It's great.
This was a very positive, I would say, group of callers. Even Devin, who had to give me a little bit of crap, but that's okay because I said a lot of stuff about Jameson Williams last week. I did. So when he plays well, I have to take the medicine. Happy to take the medicine.
Do we have how many? Are those phone lines? Are there people still waiting?
There were.
Okay, damn. Okay, it's okay. If they call back, if you call back, we'll take your call. But until then, we'll move on. I just remember we're gonna do what's trending with JB, but JB's not even here. So honestly, we could just do phone calls during his segment as well. But regardless, let's go to break here. When we come back, we'll get into what's our Top 10 Tuesday, of course, me and Sam's Top 10 list. And, of course, you guys can shred them and pick who has a better list in your opinion. It doesn't matter. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Big Boy, because Big Boy is the place to go during this time. It's cold out. You go into Big Boy, you get their breakfast, lunch, dinner, doesn't matter. They got dessert as well. You see it. The potato pancakes are back. Check them out over at Big Boy.
All landscapers, this is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. Whether you landscape for your job or landscape for fun, get all your equipment from Outdoor Equip Co., the official equipment provider of Woodward Sports. Michigan grown, family owned. OutdoorEquipCo.com.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. We're having a great show talking to people. I want to get to more phone calls. I do, because I enjoy talking to the people, and it gives you guys a chance to kind of voice your opinion, which I think is absolutely necessary because you guys make this show, so I think you guys need an opinion. We'll do the top 10 stuff. We have the rest of the show. JB's not here today. Hope you feel better, JB. We love you. Kenji's holding it down for us, doing a great job in the TD booth. He'll be a part of Woodward Nights as well, so go support him. Go support the boys. They do a great job over there. But, of course, we'll save the top 10 stuff for 9:40. All right, that's what's trending. We'll just do it instead. Right now, though, we got Ken waiting, who's at the game.
Yes, sir.
Which is a great perspective.
From Grand Rapids, man.
Ken from Grand Rapids, you were at the game. I'm interested to know your point of view on this whole thing. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you guys doing this morning?
Great, great.
Man, that place was rocking. I mean, I've been to a lot of games at Ford Field. Man, it was rocking. It was awesome, man. The energy was like, I can't even explain it, man. It was just a really good time to be there on Saturday. But I want to say this, man. I called last week. I don't know if you guys remember my call, Flannel, but you were giving me a lot of shit, shaking your head and all this, and I'm the guy that called and said RELAX.
You know, you did.
Yeah, we'll give you that. You did.
Know, but listen, I'm calling because, you know, I'm happy with the improvement. And that's what I was saying last week, man. We just got to move on, improve, get better, and focus on next game. We did that. I feel like those guys had just lost their chemistry. I feel like it was back. Defense was playing good. Offense was playing good. I just love that 1-2 punch with Jameer Montgomery. And, man, if we can just and J-Mo, if they can just get him open a little bit more, man, we're gonna be sitting real pretty in January, man.
Yeah, he's incredible. I mean, the rookies, they don't even look like rookies. Jahmyr Gibbs and how he's playing, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch. I mean, some of their better players are rookies right now. And then you had Jared Goff play, I would say, his best game as a Lion. I mean, 5 touchdown passes. That is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
And then another thing too is, AG, man, finally he's putting some fucking pressure on the offense. I've never seen him blitz that much in my life.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And
did we lose him?
Yeah, it looks like he dropped off there, man.
He was cooking. He was on to something there. He was cooking. But I appreciate the call. And by the way, to his point, AG, he deserves a lot of. I know we've been spending time on the offense and the offensive line, and we mentioned some defensive players, but he is correct. AG, the amount of times that he was sending guys. But here's the thing, too, with that. It's not just that he was blitzing more than he has in previous games, but they were actually getting home, Sam.
Yeah.
Like, that's important. Like, Josh Pascal actually got home. That matters, too.
Yep, and so did Ife Melifonwu on that one. Kind of flipped that game with that sack fumble. Yeah, it was.
Which I love that they're sending guys. Yeah. They're sending safeties. They're sending corners. I like that.
Yeah, and Aaron Glenn. I mean, he's been one of the biggest lightning rods on this team in terms of people making him the scapegoat. Even though there have been a lot of things that have been going wrong with this team, at least in this last month. This last game against the Broncos notwithstanding, because that was the get right game for every unit, including the defense, including Aaron Glenn, and hopefully that can continue towards the end of the year and people can stop wanting to fire him, because I still think that those were a little bit premature and a little bit crazy. But I understand the sentiments when the defense isn't playing well.
Yeah, I do as well. Kool-Aid, should we just keep this thing moving, or should we?
Hey, we got another one.
All right.
Johnny from Willis, Michigan.
Johnny, welcome to the show, Johnny. What's on your mind this morning?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? I wanted to call in and give people shine some light on the subject for the season ticket prices that went up.
Yes, please.
I'm a season ticket holder. I know that the front office has been taking some hits here all night yesterday, during the day yesterday, getting beat up because they didn't send a letter. Rod Wood didn't send an actual email out explaining the price hikes and all that. But realistically, next year, I mean, I'm a club member. This year, my ticket prices were $3,600 for 2 tickets.
Okay.
This year they went up to $5,188 for next year. but we have an extra home game next year. This year we had 8. Next year we're going to have 9. So that's an extra game that's in that equivalent. And also, we don't have to pay for the preseason because we're only going to hold 1 preseason game next year, where we had to pay for 2 preseason games this year, which nobody likes to go to, right? So the average price for my tickets, they actually only went up about $500 per seat for the whole season, but we get an extra game for home game. So they did go up quite a bit, but not like what you see on the news where it's like, oh my God, they went up 80%. Oh my God, they went up 90%. So it wasn't, they went up significantly, but it wasn't the price, not as much as what they're showing on the news or in the newspaper or what people have been posting online. They probably went up maybe 25%. If you take in consideration, we get an extra home game.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no.
I mean, and you gotta, and the price of success, I mean, you're gonna have to pay more money.
Yes.
I mean, even compared to, we don't have PSL licensing, where I know, like when I lived in Georgia, which I'm a diehard dog. Sorry, Sam.
Oh, it's all right.
I know this season sucks. I mean, I was pissed off. I still think we should have been in the 4, but in Atlanta, you have a $10,000 per seat PSL licensing that you have to pay before you even pay for even your seats. So Detroit, even with the price increase, Detroit season tickets are still one of the cheapest in the NFL. And hopefully, with the price increases, maybe we can pay St. Brown and pay Sewell and pay everybody that we want to keep the heart and soul of our team and keep this shit rocking, man.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually appreciate this call, Johnny, because that insight you just gave was very important, because I feel like all I've been seeing is the people complaining, which I understand why people would be frustrated, but your perspective on it and the kind of way you laid the numbers out, it makes sense to me. Like, that's the price of having a good football team. They're going to get better next year. We know that.
Yeah.
They're going to be a playoff.
But the thing is, and if we do play but if we get overseas to play an overseas game for one of our home games, we won't pay for that game. So we'll actually get a credit on our account for that game.
Oh, there you
go. If we get flexed to Germany or wherever, so we'll still have 8 home games like we did this year. So, I mean, it's, I was just shocked, honestly, to see the price of the playoff tickets, because I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Like, when they sent out the thing, it was like, if we were to host all 4 games, it was literally the price of almost my whole entire freaking season tickets for this year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was like over $2,100 for 2 seats for all 4 games if we would have hosted every home playoff game, which was like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if I'm confident I can sell my first game and pay for the NFC championship game at home, but I don't know, man. It's quite a bit of money to go to the playoffs, but I gotta go.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, I understand that.
I can't sell that ticket.
No,
it's so tough because just a couple of years ago.
I appreciate what y'all do, man.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
I appreciate what y'all do, and I just want to shed some light on it so everybody can kind of be clear on it. So.
Yeah, no, honestly, I do. I appreciate this call a lot. I know I've been talking to people about the ticket prices and the season ticket prices, but I'm glad you kind of gave your insight on it. It clarified a lot of things. So thank you for the call. I appreciate you, Johnny.
All right, brother. Y'all have a good one.
Yes, sir. You too. Appreciate you. But based on based on what he just said, though, about the season tickets, to me, as much as it is, you're kind of entering this new territory where the Lions are an actual good football team. So it is a little foreign when you're like, man, these tickets keep going up, and they technically haven't really won anything.
Yeah.
But that's also, they're kind of, it's the cost of doing business now. Like, you're a playoff team, you're winning your division. It stinks, but here we are.
It is so sad, though. Their first real sniff of being good, and now some of the good, hard-working fans are going to be priced out of season tickets.
And here's the thing. Just like Johnny said, they'll pay for it.
I'm sure.
They know, the Lions. They know these fans are going to pay for it.
I'll tell you what, side hustles will be the amount of people doing side hustles. I think will exponentially increase because, a lot of these fans have been season ticket holders when they've been terrible for so many years. They want to see a winner, and hopefully, a lot of the best fans can still keep and maintain their season tickets because this has been really fun this year, and I think it's going to continue for years to come. It's amazing though to think, even as recent as 2021 or even early 2022, you could go on StubHub or whatever and get like $20 tickets before the game back when they were at their peak.
I know.
Yeah.
I remember
those
paying,
days are over.
Like, it was the Matt Patricia era.
Ooh.
And early on, just to give you, because once we found out what Matt Patricia was, I didn't go to a single game, but early on I went to a game, and those tickets were about $100, under $100, something like that, for like, not the greatest seats, but still. Now you can't get if you're sitting high up in the Ford Field, you're probably paying $200-something at the minimum. Which, that's the price. They're a good football team now. And Hoof Hearted, I think, put it really well. And I have to find his comment because I was reading it kind of while he was talking there, kind of giving his insight, and it was basically just saying it's basically just capitalism. That's what comes with it. It's a better product, therefore they can charge higher prices, and people are going to pay for them. And you see Johnny there. He wants to witness playoff success, and I don't blame him. You can't put a number on that. Let's go to break. When we get back, we'll do Top 10 Tuesday. We'll get into that now, and then, of course, we'll do Mailbag at 9:50, so stick around for that. But first, we got to hear about our friends over at Guardian Alarm.
Yes, let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work, and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Nothing.
G-G-G-G-A.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports. Woodward and Main Street. The Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Let's talk about Outdoor Equipment Company, official equipment provider of Woodward Sports, Michigan-grown, family-owned, bad boy mowers, tractors, steel handhelds, and even weed whippers, Liberty trailers, Generac generators, Snow X-Plows, and Salters. Outdoor Equipment Co. has it all. Buy it, rent it, 0% financing, delivery to your doorstep. Just visit OutdoorEquipCo.com.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. It is that time, Top 10 Tuesdays. Me and Sam Flannel, we go through our top 10 teams in the NFL. We see where the Lions are at this week and where we have them at. And you guys can debate and discuss who has the better list, what would you tweak about our list, because, hey, I love having these discussions. We'll start with Sam Flannels first. Sam, Kenji, put up his list. Sam, you can break it down for us.
All right, number 10, I have the Cincinnati Bengals, the Jake Browning-led Cincinnati Bengals, who just did the Lions a big favor by beating the Vikings. I'll tell you what, a little bit of the rumblings that Joe Burrow's a system. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm not going to go that far, but Jake Browning has stepped right in and played very, very well. I think he benefits, obviously, from having Jamar Chase, although he's about to be out for a couple of weeks. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and the like in the running game. The defense is decent, and it tends to show up in big moments, led by Trey Hendrickson. That's why I got them at 10. They are not out of a playoff spot by any realm of the imagination. At number 9, the Buffalo Bills had their biggest win of the year. Hey, I'll tell you what, the Buffalo Bills, the only thing it seems like they were ever missing is a running game, and they certainly look like they have a running game moving forward. Their defense has shown up absolutely huge. I mean, they've had back-to-back wins against the Cowboys and the Chiefs to really kind of save their season, and I obviously trust Josh Allen moving forward and in big games and in the playoffs, so give me the Buffalo Bills at number 9. The only reason they're that low is because they have 6 losses. At number 8, I have the Cleveland Browns. The Joe Flacco-led Cleveland Browns, who has kind of in a way saved their season by playing solid quarterback play. Although he did throw 3 picks against the Chicago Bears, he played better down the stretch in order to get them to a win. And of course, we know what that defense can do, led by Myles Garrett. And you know who has been a standout player for them this year, kind of had his breakout? How about David Njoku, a guy that I had written off? He's played very well this year.
Yes.
Number 7, the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that they're still my pick to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC and represent them. They had a bit of a tough stretch. They got right a little bit against the New England Patriots. Their defense has obviously played very well for most of the year. Their offense has looked spotty at times. And I'll tell you one thing, too, about the Kansas City Chiefs, a little bit of a side note. I can't believe I'm saying this, Patrick Mahomes is kind of living in hell this year. Did you see Kadarius Toney drop another one that led to a pick? Have you seen Marquez Valdez-Scantling drop a game winner this year? But at the same time, they're still 9-5, and they're still the Kansas City Chiefs. At number 6, I have the Detroit Lions, who got right with a big win against the Denver Broncos. I think that they're one of the best teams in the NFC, but I don't think roster-wise, especially on defense, they can quite compete with the big dogs of the big dogs, although offensively they might end up proving me wrong. Number 5, the Dallas Cowboys. Looking a lot like the Cowboys of yesteryear. Who have,
frauds.
Hey, that's fair. That is 100% fair right now. They went on the road, played a good team, and got waxed. But I still like their talent. I still think Dak Prescott's season is more representative of who he actually is. Their wide receivers led by CeeDee Lamb, and their defense, if they can stop the run, if they can make teams play from behind, they are still as unbeatable as anybody, with Micah Parsons coming at you and you having to throw it up to Deron Bland. At number 4, the Miami Dolphins. You know what? I got to give Tua Tagovailoa credit. He went up against a good Jets defense, even though the Jets offense didn't give that defense any help, without Tyreek Hill, and had a very, very good game. Jalen Waddle dominated. I still don't trust them against the better teams, but the way that they looked without Tyreek Hill was very, very impressive, and they put up some points on a good defense. At number 3, Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not confident in my pick. They have looked a little bit suspect lately, and that is putting it lightly. But I do think a lot of that has to do with they've played a lot of tough opponents, and this is, I think, more of a symptom of a lot of teams have had some tough stretches this year, and the Philadelphia Eagles are in the middle of one of them. I trust Jalen Hurts moving forward. I like their running game. I like their receivers. I like their offensive line. Their defense has a lot of talent, and I'll tell you what, as crazy as it sounds, their defense had a little bit of a get-right game this past week against the Seattle Seahawks. If they didn't blow it at the end, it would have been seen as a great defensive performance. So I can't put the Eagles any lower than 3 at the moment. Number 2, the Ravens, best team in the AFC as of right now, got another big win over the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I predicted because the Jaguars, I don't trust them at all. Lamar Jackson's having one of the best seasons of his career. That defense led by guys like Justin Matabuke and Jadeveon Clowney and even Kyle Hamilton in the secondary has been elite this year. Give me the Ravens at 2 and the 49ers at 1. Just another ho-hum beatdown where the offense looked phenomenal and the defense gave up some points, but it didn't really matter. The 49ers, honestly, nobody's had them any lower than 1 for the past 3 weeks. I don't have to explain that anymore. And that is my flawless list that everyone is going to agree with, right?
Well, hold on. I got a couple problems. Listen. I got a couple problems with this list, and you'll see my list, and you guys can vote on that. But Kenji, put on my list. Come on, this is the right list right here. This is the correct list. Thank you. Sam was that was the dummy list, the mock draft list. This is the official draft. This is the official list here. Real quickly, I do agree with the top 4 teams you have. And I really thought about this because I wanted to put Miami below the Lions, and I tried to think about it. But the only argument I have is, well, Miami they've beaten out a lot of bad teams, but the Lions just lost to a bad team. They just lost to the Bears. So, there's their argument right there.
Sure.
So I can't say much there. Miami, without Tyreek Hill, they still look damn good. And offensively, that's really where they're a top 4 team to me. With Tyreek Hill in the lineup, they're scary. All the speed they have on the field, it's just a fact. Now, we'll see how they perform in the playoffs, but as of right now, I have them at 4. The first 3, I don't really need to explain. I know people would say, well, Philly lost, and they've lost 3 straight. Guys, we went through this as Lions fans. There's going to be times where there's a losing streak, there's adversity. I still like the Eagles. I can't sit here and tell you that the Lions are better than the Eagles right now. I just can't. Sorry. Not yet. I just won't make that case. But they are close. I think 3, 4, 5 are pretty interchangeable to me. I just feel like the Eagles are better right now, regardless. They are on a 3-game losing streak. I understand that. And then the top 2 don't really need to be discussed. Number 5, though, I have the Detroit Lions over the Dallas Cowboys because they should be over the Dallas Cowboys. That loss to the Buffalo Bills was bad. It's not just they lost, it's how they lost and how bad they lost. And you could bring up, well, Jeff, they beat the Eagles. Okay, and you might have a case there. And the Lions did lose to the Bears, but I think the Lions are playing better football. and they're a better team as of right now, especially how they're playing offensively. And I think this offense will keep playing the way they're playing for the Lions. That Dallas Cowboys offense, I don't know, man. We'll see how they perform against the Lions. I'm curious. One of the best games of the year for me as a Lions fan. Now, number 7, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 9-5. I think they're going to figure it out. Their defense is really the biggest part of why the Chiefs are here. Kadarius Toney should be cut right now. Yes. I don't think he should even be able to play this week. He should be sent home, and that should be all. That should be the end of the Kadarius Toney story. Now, number 8, I have the Buffalo Bills. I have them higher. I think the Bills, despite their record, they're 8-6. They're still a dangerous football team. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Cowboys. They're still a team that can beat a lot of teams in the NFL right now, and they're dangerous. Now, number 9, I have the Los Angeles Rams. Oh, yeah. I do. The Los Angeles Rams. Yep, they're 7-7. I don't give a damn. With how Matthew Stafford's playing and the defense, to be honest with you, with Aaron Donald, I like what the Rams are doing. They're still a threat, and they're going to make the playoffs, guys. I believe that. And they have a big game at the end of the year against the 49ers, and I think that game's going to be close. I think the Rams will give them a run for their money. If it wasn't for the loss, because they just dropped a couple games ago, and I want to confirm this really quickly, because they just lost a close one to the Ravens by a overtime special team score. But if it wasn't for that, if they would have won that game, they would have won 5 straight. The Rams are on fire. They're on a heater right now, and they deserve to be in the top 10 teams. They're at number 9. Number 10, I have the Cleveland Browns. I get their 9-5. Joe Flacco is throwing for a ton of yards. I get all that. But to me, the Browns are interesting. They're just interesting. I don't really know what to make of them. I don't know how good they are. They're 9-5, but I think their record's better than the actual team itself. We'll see how they trend. But that's my top 10 teams. You guys can vote on them. I see people talking about the issue I had, and especially Booner. I want to read this stuff. Eagles should be behind the Dallas Cowboys on this list. And he also had a problem with me putting the Eagles above the Lions. He says the Lions versus Eagles at Ford Field. The Lions win tomorrow. I don't know if I'd immediately just say that. I think it'd be a good game.
At Ford Field, I'd probably
Ford Field,
agree.
You give the edge to the Lions, but I think everyone, just like everyone was for the Lions and just like everyone was for the 49ers, they lose a couple games, well, they stink. You know, you got to watch on that stuff. The Eagles lost 3 straight, but I think they're going to figure it out. Darius Slay should be back by the playoffs, and Jalen Hurts, they're going to figure this thing out, I promise you. They'll be fine. I have no worries. But that's my top 10 list. You got Sam's. Vote in the chat. When we come back from break, we'll get to mailbag, and we'll kind of review some of the polls there. But as of right now, I got to tell you, or Sam's got to tell you, about our friends over at Dispo.
Dispo, yes. We were just there not too long ago. Let me pull that up right now. Oh, man, do I have Dispo? It's here somewhere.
Look at Santa. Come see Santa.
Yes, come see Santa, Dispo Romeo, with your local cannabis plug. Santa's, it's all decked out with Christmas gear. It's got everything you could want cannabis-wise. One of the best experiences I've had at a dispensary, even though I don't smoke. It is absolutely wonderful. It's got everything you could want. Everybody is friendly. Visit their store in Romeo, especially. They've got one in Hazel Park that the heavyweights in Ermanni and Edwards do shows at. Dispo has just treated us very, very well. Dispo Romeo, your local cannabis plug.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime.
Join Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Dreaming of a new home but feeling the Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesales.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Let's get to mailbag. I see people chiming in here. Jake says, Eagles aren't scaring anyone right now. They are the Virginia basketball of the NFL. They haven't looked explosive and have one of the most predictable and slow-paced offenses in the NFL right now.
Virginia basketball?
Yeah, that's a hell of a reference there. Virginia basketball of the NFL.
They did win a natty a couple years ago.
They did. I think Ty Jerome was on that roster.
Oh, Ty Jerome? Was that DeAndre Hunter, the current?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
What a roster. Now, people talking about Philly. And we should know this, guys. Every team's going to go through adversity. It is what it is. And, of course, they've lost by a big margin to the 49ers and Cowboys. And I get it's not pretty. But I'm still going to lean the Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFC. I can't forget what they did last year, what they've been doing for a majority of this year, finding ways to win. So if you want to, say they're trash or whatever the case may be, go ahead. I get if you're saying that the playing field's much closer for the Lions. I'll agree with that. The Lions, Eagles, Cowboys, it's very close, and I think the 49ers are in a class of their own. But to just kind of write off the Eagles, it's really their offense. They have to figure that out, to be honest with you. And I think they will.
I would agree with you because I have been drinking a lot of Kool-Aid this week. I have been Mr. Positivity as much as anybody. But what I don't want to hear are the Lions are elite and the Eagles are trash all of a sudden. Yeah. That's what's gonna. Yeah. That I saw a little bit of Booner doing that in the chat, and I'm a little worried that Booner will have the Lions as his number one team on his power rankings on the Woodward Night Show. I'm just kind of messing, but
Yeah, Booner's for sure gonna have him too. 100%.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
definitely gonna have him too, because of the point he made about the Eagles. I already see how that's going. But regardless, love you, Booner. Check those boys out.
Check them out.
Lunchbox Hooligans. Jeff, who does the Lions cut when GJ in Houston and Liam? They also even talk about Kabinda coming back. Who do they cut? Interesting question. That's a great question because they're going to have to get rid of some guys. I know Hendon Hooker's also going to be activated, so they're going to have to make room on this roster. And they've already had to lose guys that were key contributors like a Bohanna or
Will
Brahana.
Harris, maybe? Will Harris?
Will Harris will be great. I'm okay. I don't like calling for people's jobs, but yeah, they're going to have to cut somebody. Probably someone on defense because they got a ton of guys on the defensive line too. We'll see. But yeah, they're going to have to make some room here because a lot of guys are coming back.
Well, you don't have to make room for Jason Kabinda.
No,
not at all. He can. He's.
Yeah, we know how you feel about Jason Kabinda.
Yeah,
get out of here. All right, what a dog. What a dog. Let's see. Don Beats says, the Motor City Cruise. Don, where's Don Beats' comment? Talking about mailbag. No Motor City Cruise talk today. That's what I came for. Shame on you both. Kool-Aid can break down the Motor City Cruise for us. Give us a whole 10-minute breakdown and analysis. Winning product. Yeah, they win games. They just find ways to win. Matt N. Mailbag. Why has Philly clinched a playoff spot and Detroit hasn't? Same overall in conference record.
I mean, it's all technicalities at this point.
Yeah, they're going to clinch.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. It's a very good question.
Booner says need to make room for CK85. I agree with that.
Oh yeah, all of his catches that he's going to get this season, right?
Yeah. Bird says mailbag. How do you feel about the seats for the Vikings game on Christmas Eve being at $100 and the Lions season finale tickets being at a minimum $600 for comparable seats? Are they really $100?
Just to go to Minnesota and go to the game?
Yeah.
Whew. You would think. I mean, the Vikings have a pretty rabid fan base themselves.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad thing to put in the chat, because I would like to do a cross comparison over. I don't know. I'd like to see what Chiefs season tickets are. Like just to get a cross comparison.
Yeah, no, I would like to know that as well. This topic or this question I want to bring up, D Jones, and it's all serious. He's not kidding. This isn't a troll. I promise you. Who's having a better season, J-Mo or Hutch?
Hutch, 100%. Come on now, stop it.
All right. Let's see here. In all seriousness, yes, it would be Hutch. Let's see more questions here. He asked it twice too, by the way. We didn't get to it the first time, so he really wanted that one to be answered. Eduardo says, Mailbag, where do you think our offensive weapons rank in the division and in the conference? Do you think we have the best weapons to keep up with San Francisco? I think San Francisco is in a realm of their own in terms of offensive weapons. I do, because they have a trio, a great, hell of a wide receiver core. They got George Kittle. They got Christian McCaffrey, who's also a receiver. So, and he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year, if not Tyreek. One of those guys are. So I would say the 49ers. I think the Lions are up there. But weapons, I mean, I would still give the Eagles the nod.
Probably.
Because A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown is so good. I think I would give him and the Dallas Goedert's a really good weapon as well. It's close. They're in the conversation for one of the best in the NFC. I'll give them that. Like, I think they have better weapons, I think, than the Cowboys.
With the Cowboys, Tony Pollard's been a little bit of a disappointment, and they have other weapons besides for CeeDee Lamb, but no real number 2 wide receiver, except if they incorporate Brandon Cooks a little bit more. But yeah, when you talk about the Lions, you got Gibbs, you got Montgomery, you've got a Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's a pretty damn good top 4, I would say. So, but they're not the 49ers in terms of weapons, but they're closer to the Eagles than I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, they're close to the Eagles,
and they're only getting better too.
Yeah.
This question, and this is for Kool-Aid, Shad, Mailbag, Stu and Burks for Grant Williams and Josh Green.
You know what? Anything is good right now. Anything different will be good right now for the Detroit Pistons. They got to switch up the recipe right now.
So you're cool with trading Isaiah Stewart?
Oh, I definitely am.
Okay. I would be too.
2 years.
I don't know if I would. I don't know if Grant Williams would be like if he's the acquisition. I'm like, that's a hell of a deal. Like, I don't. And Josh Green, he's not bad either.
He's not, man. But
Alec Burks that dude gets on a heater every once in a while. I like Alec Burks too, off your bench. So I don't know. It seems like you're trading mid for mid. It doesn't seem like a significant. I would rather trade away multiple pieces, to try and get a better player. But Grant Williams ain't bad either. He's not bad.
We shall see.
Jesse Adams, who has had a worse few days, the Pistons or Colby Covington? Remember when you said he would win this past weekend? Yes, I did. He looked absolutely, unarguably awful. Colby Covington, he got out-wrestled, he got outstruck. He looked terrible. He didn't look like the Colby Covington we've seen, like, typically in his career. Like, putting the pressure on. He just seemed like he just was okay with going in there and just getting pieced up for 5 rounds. And it was disappointing. I haven't put money on him, Jesse, so I put my money where my mouth was, and I still lost. I would say the Pistons, though, because they're just always having, like, Colby, he'll get over that. The Pistons, you're going to have to endure this for months. So, few days, yeah, it's always going to go to the Pistons for that. Let's see. Dirty D says, Dr. Dirty D, Mailbag, will Sam ever wear a J-Mo jersey when he goes over 100 yards before the end of the year? Also, is JJ even the second best QB left in the college football playoffs?
No, I'm not getting a J-Mo jersey if he goes over 100 yards one time. And that's not even slander. I don't even have an Aiden Hutchinson jersey yet. I'm just not really a jersey guy. So no. And also, is JJ even the second best quarterback left in the playoffs? Let me think. Penix, Milroe, Quinn Ewers, JJ. I think it's really close when you talk about JJ, Quinn Ewers, and Jalen Milroe. I think you can make an argument for every single one of them. We'll see how it all plays out, though. But Penix is definitely number 1.
Let's see. One more question, and we'll get out of here. Let's see here. One more. Here, we'll go to Cameron. Mailbag, are you ready to see the Pistons be the worst team in the NBA again and still not get a top 5 pick in the lottery? Yeah. At this point, they stink. There's nothing to save them from stinking. And I'll say this, I hope they lose every single game the rest of the season, be 2-80. I think that's an interesting story. It's way more interesting than stringing off 5-10 wins to me. So lose every single game. Hey, if it's going to be this bad, make it the worst possible case scenario. So 2-80. Let's go. Let's ride, boys. Booner says Patty the Batty. Yeah, you got to win this weekend as well. We'll get out of here. Appreciate you guys for joining the show. It's a lot of fun as always. I enjoyed talking to the people. We'll try to do that more often on Tuesdays, kind of having more discussions with the people, getting a vibe of what you guys think. Don't forget, Big D Energy, Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Heavyweights, Woodward Knights. Rest of the day on Woodward Sports here. Jeff Ifrady, Sam Flannel, Brandon Dent, and we have Ken G as well holding it down in the TD booth. Feel better, JB. We missed you. We can't wait to have you back as well. But until tomorrow, guys, thank you. Have a blessed day. To everyone who enjoyed the show and tuned in, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.